So we've gone over some of the possibilities recently of what it looks like for AMC stock squeezing. And we know that the shorts absolutely must cover, but we don't know when they're going to cover or what's going to cause them to cover. Now, knowing that they will cover, that leads us to the question, how high will AMC stock squeeze and how much money are you prepared to take? So guys, I want to make sure that every single one of us is prepared to make as much money as possible when it comes to the AMC stock, mother of all short squeezes. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and hopefully you can ask those questions and answer those questions honestly so that you are prepared and ready to make as much money as possible during the AMC stock short squeeze. So if all this sounds like something you're interested in, let's get started. What's up, everybody? I'm Clay. I'm here to make 2021 the best year ever. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Join us. Become a bro. We are here every single day, and we are growing our portfolios together. All right, look, Chris, shout out to you, man. You asked a great question in the live stream earlier, and I just wanted to make a video about it because I truly want everybody to be prepared and to make as much money as possible when it comes to the AMC stock short squeeze. And we briefly talked about, it's guaranteed that the shorts cover, therefore, is it guaranteed that the price of AMC stock squeezes? And just briefly to touch on that, supply and demand has everything to do with how high a stock's price can go. Now, we have guaranteed demand in the fact that the shorts are going to cover, but if that supply rises as fast as the demand comes in, that's what determines whether or not and how far the stock price squeezes higher. So let's assume for all the purposes of this video that that the shorts are covering, the stock price is ripping higher, and you don't want to miss out on a single dime during the squeeze. Now, first and foremost, I know that nobody out there is able to predict the top of the price perfectly. Nobody's going to be able to make every single cent and get out on the very top of the peak that there is. That's just luck in that case. But we can do a couple things to determine what is life-changing money for us and how do we get there. So the first question we need to answer and the first question we need to ask ourselves is, what is life-changing money? Okay, what's life-changing money for you is going to be different than me. And I know there's different scales, and you guys can look at this on a different, swing pattern and so on. But if you're looking at, you want to make $10 million so that you and your family never have to work again, and your kids never have to work again, and so on. Okay, well, you better be able to couple that with a lot of shares, because you need to figure out the life-changing money and the fact that, do you just want a portfolio that can provide you with income for the rest of your life? Do you want to pay off all of your debt? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want, never to go back to work again? Or do you simply want to supplement the income that you currently have? All of these questions need to be answered not by me, but by you. What will absolutely change your life when it comes to a sum of money? What is that number? Now that you've figured out what that number is, or if you're going to, start dwelling on that number over the next couple of weeks and so to prepare yourself, you and only you can determine that. So moving on from that, we need to couple that with realistic expectations for AMC, okay? Now that you have that number figured out on what life-changing money is for you, you need to determine what the likelihood of AMC reaching that price is, okay? Only you know how many shares you have. So if you're going to be looking at realistic prices, what do you look for? What are some of the things that you can determine is whether or not it's realistic? We know that the price can go as high as it wants to based on the demand. That is there. So the supply is the only thing we need to figure out. Now, it's going to be a little bit difficult because nobody can determine human emotions or what a human is able to do and likely to do in the future, especially when things start to get emotional, right? The only thing that's going to hinder AMC's stock price is profit taking. You, me, and everybody else that holds AMC are the only ones to determine how high AMC stock can go. So you have to think, will people be tempted Yes, people are going to be tempted very early on. As soon as that number starts to turn green, and as soon as they have $1,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 in their portfolio, that temptation is going to be real. So you need to determine in what you think is the line that will be broken. What number do people cross and they will absolutely begin to take that profit? Is it 10,000 in their portfolio? Is it 100,000 in their portfolio? Is it $1 million in their portfolio? And keep in mind, the average portfolio, according to Adam Aaron a few months ago, had 120 shares in it. So therefore, you can do the math. $1,000 per share is going to be $100,000 to $120,000 in someone's portfolio. So you need to begin to think about that. I want you guys to couple what is realistic based on the amount of shares you own, and what is that price point that's realistic based on the life-changing money that you desire. Now, once you determine these things, once you say, okay, I think AMC can reach $1,000, maybe $2,000 per share before people absolutely go wild, take their profits, and it stalls out. And you have 500 shares in your portfolio. You're looking at anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million. Now, maybe you can't retire off of that, and you're not going to be able to go out there and buy $1 million house, but you could absolutely use that money to reinvest it and generate yourself a very healthy income for the rest of your life. You understand that, right? That's what I'm getting at. Find your goals. Find the numbers that way. Then some of the questions that you need to start asking yourself are, and this is going to pertain more to the fact that you don't want to miss out during the short squeeze, right? You don't know the best way to get rid of it. I've done several in-depth videos on how to determine whether to use market or limit orders, and there's pros and cons to both. Briefly speaking, the pros of a market order are it will get filled. The cons of a market order, you don't know what price it's going to get filled. Now, the opposite is true for a limit order. The pros are you know exactly what price or better it's going to get filled at, but you may not get filled, especially if it's during volatile times. Now, knowing this, ask yourself one more question, and that's, what if we are reaching $1,000 per share, okay? And you decide, yes, that was my number. That is my life-changing number right there. $1,000 per share times the amount of shares I have in my portfolio. What happens if you take your profit on all of your shares? You hit that number and you get out. What happens if it goes to $2,000 per share? Are you going to beat yourself up? Are you going to be able to live with that, knowing you could have doubled your money again? If that's the case, and you answer, there's no way I could be happy with my life-changing number, remember, if I could have had twice that. Now, that's only you can answer that one, right? I don't know. I don't want to say don't get too greedy and so on, but if that's the strategy and that's the way of thinking for you, maybe you should stair step it out. Maybe you should sell 20% at 1,000. If it continues to move higher, 20% at 1,200, 20% at 1,500, and so on. If you cannot fathom the stock price continuing to move higher after you exit, maybe you stair step it out. Now, of course, with doing that, you run the risk of selling your 20% at 1,000 and watching it come back down a little bit. Of course, in that situation there, it would have been better if you took all of your shares and sold them at the $1,000 mark. But that's just it, guys. Nobody knows what the price is going to do 5 minutes from now, 5 days from now, 5 weeks from now, and so on. So do not be too hard on yourself if you leave a couple percent, if you leave a couple 100% on the table. Find your number, stay true to your plan, and make as much money as possible during the AMC Stock Short Squeeze. Now, guys, I want to see nothing but encouragement down in the comments below that you are still holding, you were diamond handing, and you were holding out for the life-changing money and nothing less when it comes to AMC stock. So encourage the rest of us to be better investors. And if this button right here is still red, make sure to click and subscribe to the channel. Join us, become a bro. We are here every single day, and we are growing our portfolios together. If you're brand new to investing, there's a link down there in the description for Webull. It is super simple to set up your brokerage account, and a $100 deposit is going to get you a couple free stocks. They're your stocks, so you can sell them, keep them, whatever you want to do with them. ClayBro883 on Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow me there. And of course, guys, until the next time, hope that each and every one of you have an awesome day.